Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be playing along with making some simple painterly backgrounds in our art journal and using some paint and with some stencils as well. So I'm starting off in my craft journal and just going in with some paint colours in the background. These are really scrappy. I haven't put too much paint out. I'm going in with a sort of grey pale blue colour and then adding in a turquoise as well. And I'm adding my paints while they're still wet. I am blending the colours together a little bit as well, sort of painting up and over. I'm not really washing out my paintbrush all that much because I am using similar colours in the background to sort of blend it all together a little bit. So as I was doing this, I was getting a little bit carried away with the blue, particularly that darker blue. It wasn't quite where I wanted to go with this, so I wanted to kill the color a little bit or add a sort of an opposite. One of the ways I wanted to do this was I went back in with that original grayish color and did some stenciling over the top, so just adding that little bit of while it is a grey color, like the white space over the top again. So this is called, I think, covers or manhole covers, this stencil. And it's just a good way to sort of pull it all back together again. So you can still see those colours coming through, but it's a little bit more blended together. But it still wasn't quite what I wanted. So I've decided to add in some opposites. So I've got this blushing colour going on the page too. Drying that off a little bit because I thought I might want to do some ghosting with it. So while it's really wet, it's a bit can get a bit smudgy. I dried it too much, so that's why not all my paint has been removed. I then decided that, as I do, put too much pink on it, so I wanted to add some of that darker colour back in again. So I've gone in with a different shade, and this one's called Marine, over the top. And you can see as I go along, I'm actually getting a bit trigger happy with my fingers. Now I love painting with my fingers. I know some people find it really difficult, but I find the blends that you get using your fingers is just so much smoother, more organic, and more painterly. So have a go at blending with your fingers. Fun doesn't just stop in kindergarten by doing painting, so we can still get away with it. I decided I wanted to put a figure on this page, but I wanted it to be a little bit more abstract, a little bit not as in your face as it would be if I cut it out of something. And I wanted to have some of these repeating stenciled shapes in it. So I'm using sort of similar stencils that I'd used in the background and the ghosting technique. So I've got those colours coming through from the background. And then using my Stippler oil pencil to go back over and draw in the details of my figure. This is a stencil by Megan Quinlan, and I'll put her details in the description box below. Using Stippler oil pencil on this is a really easy way to get the sort of blended, inky, abstracty colouring happening in with fairly easy. If you've got watercolour pencils, you could do something similar, or watercolour crayons will do the same as well. I wanted to add in a little bit more darkness to my figure, or a little bit more interest to sort of set it apart from the other parts of my page. So I've gone in with a little bit of stamping, just in a black, but I didn't press all that hard. So while it is obviously black on it, it's not a really intense black, so it's not dominating on the page. I also decided to put some pattern work in my figure as well, using some cues from Megan's work. She loves these little doodly rainbows. She makes them look so simple and always makes them look uniform and fabulous, and mine's always look a bit wonky. So it's funny how people have their own personal sort of patterns that they can do really well. I quite like my dots that I just use making my Posca paint pens work. One of the things I have been finding though that I've really been enjoying doing is using different sized paint pens on the same piece, so sprinkling sort of large dots and then filling up some of the gaps with smaller dots, so you get this kind of starbursty effect happening across your page. Now as I was doing this page, I find quite often when I'm doing those sort of painted backgrounds, they really relax me, particularly when I start putting my fingers in them. It's just something about that textile, sensory effect of getting my hands in paint that makes it feel really, really good. So I just started to relax and to enjoy the process a lot more. And it's funny how that happens during a process. You can sort of feel yourself doing that. So I found this quote in the ledger paper, which kind of spoke to putting a lot of pressure on yourself. And as my main quote on the page, I wanted to write the words "just breathe," because that's basically what I was doing during this process. I was just taking a breath. I was having my calm down time. I was having a moment to myself, which, you know, I really enjoyed. I felt much better at the end of it. And it's amazing how painting can do that. So I wanted to sort of have that as my main focus on the page. I think the colours in the background for me really help with that too. Particularly that marine colour is just one of my favourites. I love the smokiness that it comes with it, but also the depth of colour. It's one of my favourites, and especially combined with the other colours on that page. But there's just something about that colourway that makes me feel really relaxed and really calm. So I would highly suggest, if you have got a colourway that makes you feel that way and you're having a bad day, just have a go at it. It might make you feel better. So with my work, I'm just going in with my Stabilo oil pencil instead of my black Posca. I just wanted to be a little bit softer, so I'm still putting a drop shadow on my letters, but I'm doing it so it's much more delicate, I suppose, in the background, because that's what this page was sort of giving me, just with that sprinkle of dots in the background. It was just like the breath going out of her and in, and it was just, yeah, it will all be okay. I suppose telling myself it will all be okay. So that's where this page came from. And I'd be really interested to hear from you guys who've watched this, how your calming pages work for you. So you can see the detail in the close-up, how that smudge paint in the background, the little bit of stamping to add the detail to the figure, those little dots across the page sort of sprinkled across, and the colourway, how they all tied together. This is a really not necessarily my favourite page I've ever done, but it's certainly a really enjoyable one that I did, and I felt much better at the end of it. So I hope you have a go at doing something like that for yourself, and until next time, bye for now.